What is up, everybody? We are going back into the 3-4 bear. It's been a minute since we've talked about this, and so we're going to go ahead and get back into it. Sorry if my voice sounds a little hoarse. I don't know what's going on. It's like my nose is draining or something like that, and I just woke up with a sore throat. So 3-4 bear. We're going to be going back into this cover 3, and our primary defense is going to be this pinch bucko. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Y-off trio, some trips, some bunch, some things that you need to be worried about with 5 wide, and really why you got to be really careful about using this. So let's get into this Y-off trio week. Let's just go PA post dig shot. Perfect. That's going to work. That's a good beater in general. So pinch bucko. First and foremost, in any kind of trips formation, more specifically like a trio like this, you notice you have a lone receiver on the left side of the field, which is right here. You got Sammy Watkins, which is kind of running a really deep post route. We're going to back this off just a little bit, about 10 yards, 15 yards back. But you notice that Sammy Watkins is running a really, really deep post. This is what, like a almost close to a 20-yard post route is what he's running, about 15 yards-ish. But there's a couple things we can do to adjust to this. First off, if I'm going against anything like this, I'm going to be sending the house exclusively almost every single time because I want to force them into max protect. For adjustments, what we're going to do is, this is something you can't do in practice mode, I'll let you guys know, but have your alignment set to base. So if you go into coaching adjustments, you go to auto alignment, flip it over until you get to base, and it'll automatically baseline for you every single time, so you don't have to do that. It's just one less thing you guys got to worry about. In this situation, what I'm always going to do, let me clean that up. Almost always going to do is put a soft squat out there and then deep half. This is just in case, say there's some sort of deep post coming from the right side of the field. That deep half, as long as it's an extremely deep post, we'll be able to play that. So this is a little bit of coverage I'm going to do. And then from here, what I'm going to do is something like this. Now you'll notice that since we have an outside third, a deep half on the left side of the field, the middle third part of the field is going to be completely and utterly wide open. This is kind of where you need the blitz to get through, and you as a user are going to be responsible for anything in this deep middle part of the field, including the underneath. So in this situation, some things your opponent might do is something like this and just create a high-low read and maybe streak this guy. So I'm going to show you guys what might happen. Actually, I don't run, as you guys can tell, I don't run Y-off three a week very often. But this is a potential thing somebody might do, is a high-low read. So what's going to end up happening right here is this crosser is going to get open unless you take it away. That outside streak is going to be completely taken away by that inside third. This drag will get matched by a soft squat, but it's not going to play perfect defense. So let's just go ahead and snap this ball. You got the play action. He gets right there. The drag gets open underneath, but we're going to take the over-the-top stuff. Anytime you're using this much pressure, always take the deep stuff. Give up the underneath. If you see there's a slant, adjust to it. You maybe need to back off the pressure. So again, let's go into a baseline, and we'll set this up like we've always been. And if they just continuously snap through this slant, so we're sending a heavy amount of pressure, sending 7. What you might want to do to kind of delay that or offset it is put a vertical hook out there and then shade underneath and put X back into a soft squat and do something like this. Again, that's just to offset that snap throw to that slant. If they snap throw it, the odds are it's going to be a pick. Again, being careful with this particular adjustment with anything deep and middle. You've got to take that away manually. Now, of course, you could always put Y into middle third and do something like this. And bam. But then, of course, that leaves you open to corner outs. So there's a lot of things you guys have to be worried about in a Y-off trio or Y. There's a lot of trips formations that are similar to this that have a little bit different names. But you got to be worried about corner outs, out routes, and crossers. Those are the big things that you guys have to be concerned about when you're facing this. And that's, generally speaking, why I put X into a soft squat. So then it matches with any kind of crosser or deep post, as long as they're sending a heavy amount of pressure and making sure that they block their running back. If they do not block their running back and do something like this, this isn't a route really that you'd want to run. But you'll see right here, what's going to happen is first off, they can't pick up the blitz. Our contain kind of gets dumbed out. But he gets right there. He gets home, gets the sack, and gets a loss of yards. So lots of different things you've got to be concerned about when you're going against this particular formation. This is a video I wanted to make kind of really briefly, and then the next video we're going to go ahead and just get straight into split close, as that's one of the big ones you're going to face. But anyways, against any kind of trio formation like this, it's not trips tight end, it's not Trey Y flex. Those two are going to be treated differently. This is often going to be the adjustment you're going to make, is something like this. If I can get over to Fuller, and you're going to want to move this guy over if you put him in a deep half. Blitz everybody, put him into a middle third, and then just hover. Because essentially what you're trying to do is get the pressure home before anything gets open. So you see right there, we get the pressure home, bam, bag, nobody to throw to either. Now they could throw this dig route, but they're not going to have time to throw it. And that is why this is considered a good defense in Madden 20, just because the pressure is so insanely difficult to pick up. And on top of that, you're going to be taking away their first read as a user. Again, I've repeated this in previous videos. I want to emphasize this again. If you're a D-line user or somebody that's not comfortable using a safety or a linebacker, understanding where your assignment is, this defense is not for you. Do not use this defense, otherwise you're going to get dotted up and down the field. I promise you. Promise you're going to get dotted up and down the field. So this is a little bit about Y off tree week. We're going to go ahead and get into split close in this same video. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go change the playbook, so we will see you guys in split close. All right, we're going to be going into split close, one of the best offensive, at least in my opinion, best offensive formations out there. And we've got an ebook that covers that on Mastermind, link in the description. So, today we're going to be talking about some different ways that you can defend this, some things you need to be aware of. And, yeah, again, with split close in particular, I am sending pressure every single time. I'm going into pinch bucko, no questions asked whatsoever. You're going to need to send 7. Otherwise, you're going to have to watch this crossing route. You're going to have to watch this slant. There's going to be things that are going to get open that you have to be aware of. So we're in Miami offense. Let's just go into the classic PAY shot. So we're going to go into pinch bucko. Again, this baseline is more so for when you start going into cover 3 to just give them the same look. But really, when you're going against split close, if you're just going to be running pinch buck O, be careful about just doing a simple man line, because if they start motioning people over, it's going to mess up the defense. So we're going to stick to baseline for now. What we need to be aware of are really 2 plays in particular: X drag trail and PAY shot. Those are the 2 big ones we have to watch out for. Now for PAY shot, the adjustments I'm going to go ahead and make, if I can remember which controller is which, is I'm going to go ahead and put X on the clap that, which will take care of that delayed slant. And then I'm going to put Y into an inside third, B into an outside third, or outside quarter. So you might even do something like this. If you put B into an outside quarter, the one thing you need to worry about is in between the outside quarter and the inside third. So essentially the inside quarter with this streak route is going to be a touchdown. Now, there's ways that we can kind of counteract that is by putting this guy into an inside quarter and then switching up our user and using this guy. Now, that is not the play. There's the play right there. And using this guy. Again, your primary thing is anything deep over here. Almost very, very seldom. I don't want to say almost never. Seldom do people streak 14 or whoever this X receiver is for them. Most times he's going to be running some sort of crossing, some sort of slant, a drag. But occasionally we'll find somebody that likes to do a streak. For example, I've got to set up an X drag trail that I streak X. And so there's just some things you've got to be aware of. If you're going to be using this safety, a recommendation I would give you is to put X into an outside third or into a deep half and kind of play like a cover 9 look on that field. Now, with this being said, I'm going to go ahead and set up X drag trail like some people might, or PAY shot like some people would set it up. It's all ready to go. And 2 things we got to worry about in PAY shot: the cross or the slant, or I guess 3 things: the cross or slant and streak. If you're sending a heavy pressure like this, you're really needing the pressure to get home and make them throw an inaccurate throw due to heavy pressure, however, or whatever determines that. But let's go ahead and just motion snap, set this ball. You can see right there, the block is hot, if I could speak English. And we managed to get the sack eventually. But you do notice that the streak was open, the slant was open, and if you don't take away the crosser is open. When you're facing PAY shot, the slant is a read, but ultimately the big yards are going to come from the crossing route. The slant, if you do something like this, let's go ahead, get this all set up. Something like this. then you don't have to worry so much about the crossing route, but do keep in mind a good press will be very helpful in getting this outside quarter to play a crossing route a little bit better. A zoned out player is going to be extremely helpful in this situation just because they react so much better to the ball than somebody that doesn't have that ability. So that's one recommendation I recommend. I don't know how many times I say recommend, but that's one thing I do suggest, there we go, that you have on your team. Hence why I think the Ravens are probably slightly better as far as pass protection or pass coverage defense is than the Chiefs. So now let's go ahead, snap this ball. I'm going to go ahead and get this all set up. Again, I wouldn't have Travis Kelce out there if I'm running this play. I'd have somebody else completely. But just for simplicity's sake, snap the ball. It's right there. Crosser. Take the drag, and you can see right there, if they throw that crossing route, click onto the outside quarter and take away that crossing route. Remember that zoned out players are going to play this a lot better. Now that's a little bit about PAY shot. Let's get into this X drag trail. X drag trail is extremely difficult to guard because you can run it as a 3-route combo. So let's go back into split close. Let's go into X drag trail. Back into 3-4 bear. Again, we're just sending pressure every single time. I'm going to go ahead and press as well. If you don't have it set as an automatically baseline, then just go ahead and do a press and do the following. First off, when we talk about X drag trail, and this kind of sums up split close, you got to worry about the drag, the 2 post routes. Primarily the deep post being a cover 3 bomb. This is the way that you might see people run it. If you run a cover 3 shell, something like this, then you're going to get beat over the top by that deep post ran by Tyreek Hill. There's no question about it. You just gave up a touchdown. So there are some things you have to be aware of. Something that I have noticed that it's kind of random in the game, if I'm being completely honest, is if you put X into cloud flat, not soft squad, cloud flat, you'll find that sometimes he'll play the post route ran by their slot receiver, their A receiver. In this case, it's Travis Kelce. You will find that sometimes he will be able to jump that. Now, this requires a click on catch. If you expect the defender to the CPU defender to do all the work for you, you're going to get dotted up every single time. Now, if you're going against a good split close player, they can oftentimes fit it over the top with a cloud flap with a pass lead up. But if they just do a straight pass to the receiver, that post route, whoever it may be, then he's often going to be able to play the ball as long as you click on early enough. If you click on late, then you're going to find that he's just going to miss it altogether. It's just, sorry, there's nothing you can really do about that. Now, to get rid of this cover 3 beater, we're going to go ahead and put a cover 2 shell out on that side of the field and then use Tyrann Mathieu. I don't suggest Tyrann Mathieu because he's so short. He's fast, but he's just short. And do something like this. Again, this is similar to the PAY shot defense. Remember that if they streak, you have to take that away. Otherwise, you just gave up a touchdown. Be careful of the streak in split close. It's an underlying thing that they don't want you to pay attention to. Pay attention to it. It's important. There's a reason that they send it out. It's not just to clear out deep zones. It is a read. So let's go ahead and run this ball. Right there, we send the pressure. Chris Jones, again, just because he's an absolute animal, gets home. We take away the deep post. Of course, they have the drag underneath. Adjust accordingly and take it away. Adjust accordingly and take it away. I'm going to say that 3rd time. Adjust accordingly and take it away all the time. There's no perfect defense out there. So you notice, okay, they're starting to hit those drag every single time. Late. They're taking it every single time, right? So now we're going to adjust to this late read on this drag route. What we're going to do is we're going to set everything else up as the same, no difference. But then say they've been hitting this drag late in the flats. Now what you want to do is you want to take that away. I'm going to go ahead and just send 6. You want to take that late read away with a hard flat. Now let's go ahead and snap this ball. I'm going to go into max protect. I'm going to go ahead and blitz my user as well. We're going to drop off the coverage. Bam, it's right there. We take away the read that they're looking for. If they throw that post route, you see that cloud flat in this situation. This is actually perfect. We're starting to drop back into coverage to help play that post route. Now, let's just zoom. You can see right there. Sees the drag, sees the post route, and he starts dropping back to play it. Now, if he throws that with a pass lead straight up, you will notice that there is a space that he can fit this in. So again, if you're going to get somebody that doesn't use pass lead, you're going to be able to click on and make a play on that ball as long as you click on it soon enough, about 9 times out of 10. So this is a little bit about split close. There are some other plays that you have to worry about, like corner outs, such as the wide receiver corner. And again, it's just a game. At this point, becomes a game of cat and mouse. And so this is another look that you can give them. The key to these cloud flats working is keeping them inside the pocket. Now, if you go against a good player that knows how to manipulate contains and break outside of contains, it's going to be really hard to stop these corner outs. And then at that point, there's no zone that's going to guard them. So just do your best that you absolutely can to be able to keep the quarterback inside the pocket. So right here, we'll snap this ball. We're just going to run this defense as is and see how well it plays. Bam, he's right there. We scream. He can take his flats, but Chris Jones off the races. Come on, run, fat boy, run, fat boy, run, fat boy, run, fat boy. Run, 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 run. But you can see right there, he could have hit that flat, but it probably would have bounced off of the receiver's head. Reason for that is just because this kind of little, I don't know what you could call it, a little hitch route, a little spot route, I don't know exactly. But you can see right there, by the time the blitz is getting through, the running back is just barely turning and looking. If he throws that, 9 times out of 10, it's just going to bounce off the defender's head. Same thing for this guy right here running this little check and release. He didn't check at all. He just ran his route anyways, said, screw it, we're going. But you guys can see he's not going to have time to be able to throw these routes. Now, if he throws these corner routes, then he's going to get picked. So there's some give and take to it, and the most important thing to take out of this against any kind of split close player is keep them inside the pocket. If they're able to roll out, that's when they're going to start dotting you down the field with these corners, with these posts. Be very, very careful. So there's one final thing I want to talk about against split close, and that is the cover 3. Now, I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail with this because if I'm running a cover 3, like I'm not going to run a cover 3. I'm just not. Very, very, very seldom will I run this cover 3. But I want to just show you guys how it interacts. So let's just go into X drag trail, and we're just going to run it stock. I'm going to go ahead and actually do one thing. I'm going to baseline real fast, get Tyrann Mathieu into the 3-yard cook. I'm going to hop onto this defensive line, and we're just going to run this play stock. So you can see right there. Now that the play's over, let's hop into instant replay, show you guys what's going on with this 3-yard cook. This 3-yard cook, if you guys missed the other video, it will be in the description explaining how it plays. But first off, identify the strong side of the offense. 3 receivers on this side of the field. You guys are like, well, that's a running back right there. That's a receiver. In Madden's eyes, this is a receiver because he is running a route. So the 3-yard cook is going to play the running back. Very quickly, you can see right there, he tries and baits him, plays underneath to take away this drag. And then by that point, because this is how a 3-yard cook is meant to be toasted, he essentially just gets burned over the top. Now, you notice that there is a hook curl, but the way that Madden 20 plays, these linebackers are not going to get a reaction. Even I want to say, even if you have lurker on your linebacker, you're really not going to get as good of an animation. You might get an animation, but it's still not a guaranteed one. So you can see right there, 3-yard cook, plays the underneath, takes first the running back, takes this drag, and then works his way eventually back to the middle with this angle, this Texas route, whatever you guys want to call it. He eventually works his way back to the middle of the field. So very carefully, you can see right there, Tyreek Hill wide open for a dot. Now, if we were to have this ball, say, back at the 50-yard line, let's just zoom this all the way back up. If we were to have this ball back at the 50-yard line and they run X drag trail, there's a way that you can beat cover 3 with it. And this outside third is going to get beat by Tyreek Hill running this deep post. Like, say there, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The outside third gets pulled down by this crossing route ran by Travis Kelce. And if you're back further, you could hit Tyreek Hill over the top for a one-play touchdown. So a few things you got to be worried about with this cover 3 is, first off, beaters. I'm almost always going to deep half if I expect to cover 3 beater. Just deep half it to begin with. Just force them to drive down the field. And then I like to play cloud flats instead of curl flats on the field. They just play corner outs a little bit better as well. But aside from that, a shade over the top is going to affect how the 3-yard cook plays. He's going to then in turn play a lot more aggressively over the top, then take away this underneath stuff. So there's just some things you got to be aware of with this. And if you're running a cover 3, let's just look at Chris Jones. Chris Jones is just going to usually do a lot more work than that. I don't know why he took so long, but 9 times out of 10, you'll find that he's going to get a very insane pass rush animation and almost always get home to the QB to begin with. So Just a few things to consider with split close with your defense. Make sure that you do have some good pass rushers on your defensive line to get home if you're running this cover 3. Otherwise, if you're running pinch but go, you just need fast outside linebackers to get the blitz home quick enough to be able to make a play on the ball. So with that being said, that's going to take care of a little bit about trio. We'll get into trips tight end in a separate video. I wanted to talk about split close a little more in detail for this video to give you guys some things you need to be looking out for, some adjustments that you guys could put out on the field as well, trying to counter some of these money plays. I'll let you know right now, PA wide shot, very, very difficult if you're going against a good player that knows how to make the correct reads. It's extremely tough to bag just because the crosser will get over top of any kind of flat you have out there, and it will get underneath any kind of deep zone that you have out there. So with that being said, guys, just the biggest suggestion I can get is get it into practice mode. Just run PA wide shot again and again and again and again until you really feel comfortable understanding what the reads are. If you want a full ebook, then check out MasterMadden.com. We've got a full Miami Dolphins from trips tight end, gun bunch, I-form slot, strong pro, split close. There's one more I'm missing. I can't remember what it is right now, but we've got a full Miami Dolphins ebook that has a ton of different formations for it. So check that out. And until next time, guys, get into the lab, practice, practice, practice. Perfect practice makes perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Do not practice imperfection. Practice perfection. See ya.